Hey, I'm Al McGee here, YETicket.com. I'm here with Steven Lebowitz. Let me start up.
Movienight.net. We can
Yeah,
start
yeah.
over.
Okay. And we're here to talk about a new film that we saw called Thunderbolts, Marvel Disney new superhero film. And man, were you excited to see this film, Steven?
Oh, sure. I was excited. I'm always excited to see the new Marvel movie, especially with Avengers Doomsday coming out next year. So I wanted to see how they were sort of like getting geared up for it because we're only a year away from that movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Thunderbolts supposed to be the new Avengers. And do you think they have that title?
No. No, I don't have. I don't think they have
I,
that title at all.
I totally agree with you. They should be the Thunderbolts. And the problem that I had with this film, but let me go back a little bit. I liked the film, I liked it, but I didn't love it, and it wasn't that exciting for me because many of the fight scenes that they had, they fought among themselves, and not only that, it was a lot of banter or a lot of talking in this film, trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, and things like that. And they did not really take us to any exciting locations in this film. And I feel that their powers are not that strong compared to the original Avengers. Remember, they can fly and things like that. These people can't fly. They just have some strength and also some espionage where they can fight. And that's about it. And I just feel that this group is not a real super group.
Well, that's what the Thunderbolts are. So the matching the comic book is not my issue with it. You know, the very first action sequence wasn't that well done. And I remember when Captain America came out a few months ago, that had a great opening action sequence. So I was like, okay, this is, maybe it'll get better as it goes along. But you know what, Dad? There's a lot of dead spots in this movie. And I really had to put this blame on the director, Jack Schreier, I think his name is. I'm probably butchering his last name. But this is a guy who's never, ever, ever directed any kind of action movie in his life. And sometimes studios do this. They'll bring in some guy who's done some small independent films and say, hey, let's give him a shot at a big one. And of course, he's going to say yes. Heck, you want to ask me to direct a Marvel movie? I'll say yes. It might suck, but it'll make money, but I'll say yes. But very rarely could these guys rise to the occasion. Like Ryan Coogler, for example, we talked about him about Sinners. He was someone who did, made a small movie, then made Black Panther, and he was someone who could rise to the occasion. But this guy, Jake Schreier, really could not. I mean, outside of some one-on-one scenes, which were nice character-wise, those are fine. But when it comes to big action sequences, this guy just could not bring it together, and you need that for a Marvel movie.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that. And not only that, they brought back Florence Pugh as Yelena. She's in this, and she was the main character. But also, we got Sebastian Stan. He's Bucky, the Winter Soldier. Again, it shows how weak his strength is really is. He just has that left arm. I mean, he does have some. He does have some super ability because he did have that same formula as Captain America, but he's really not that super. And then also, he had Ava Starr played by Hannah John Kamen. Well, she has that ability, to do what she has to do. But again, to me, that's really not super. And then, of course, we got David Harbour as
Yeah,
Alexei. He was the Russian Captain America, but he was
yeah, he
there
was
a
fun.
long time ago. And then they invented this new character played by Louis Portman named Bob. And man, he really came out of the bag on that one with his superhero. Well, I ain't gonna say he's a superhero, but with his abilities. And then we got John Walker played by Wyatt Russell, who was also the son of Kurt Russell and his wife, well, his girlfriend. Well, what can I say about him? uh these people really don't have the superhero-ness that I've enjoyed from the past from superhero movies.
I think this wanted to be like a Earthbound Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I think that's what they were going for. In fact, James Gunn, who did Guardians of the Galaxy, once expressed interest in doing Thunderbolts, but of course, he eventually moved on. And of course, a lot of people did not know Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be the hit it was. And if Guardians of the Galaxy turned out to be something like this, it probably would have stopped at Volume One. Uh, so it couldn't pull that out, and it's a shame. But like you said, Marvel's Phase Four was a whole bunch of bad movies, and even though we're in Phase Five right now, this might as well be lumped in with four because this was a really bad outing for Marvel in my book.
I totally agree with you. And also the real super villain, the big villain in this is Valentina, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yes,
And I couldn't believe this was they making her the villain of the whole thing. And I never liked her character. I mean, I liked her character in the past, but I didn't really like her character in this film
no,
because they gave her too much power, in my
yeah, and
opinion.
her fate should have been different than what her character got, and that was also a big disappointment. It made no sense why her character, her fate in this movie came out to be the way it was. I'm not going to say what it was, but that was also another disappointment. I guess that's a bit more for the screenplay. Maybe it'll make more sense in the later movies, but yeah, this was a whole big. Like I said, I was really, really let down on this movie, Gal. And I'm sure that you're going to hear a lot of bad word of mouth on this really quick. You're going to hear a lot of people, a lot of comic book fans, a lot of Marvel fans trash this movie. You'll have a good opening weekend naturally, but don't be surprised to see it have a real big drop off the second weekend.
Yeah, and part of it too. Again, I think I mentioned this before. It's the characters. They're just not like I say. They don't have the
Likeable
charisma, and
and
right not
charisma.
and things like that, and they don't have the superpowers. To really fight and to really make you feel that they can dominate
Well,
if anything comes.
that's what I said. I said that Guardians of the Galaxy, there were a lot of characters who didn't really have any superpowers. They just had like their own skills and so on. So it wanted to be like that, but it couldn't get to that level.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, I'm going to rate this first. I'm only going to give this two palm trees out of four. Only two for a Marvel movie, for an Avengers movie, for a Thunderbolts movie. Only two palm trees out of four.
I'm close to you, Al. I'm gonna give you 1.5 swords out of
I,
four. One and a
I,
half swords.
I understand.
So we're basically in the same ballpark here.
Yeah, I totally understand, buddy. Well, thank you very much for coming here at YETicket.com to talk about
Always fun. Always fun.
Thunderbolts, the new Disney Marvel movie, which is coming out in theaters. Oh, and also, if you do go see it in IMAX.
Yeah, couldn't hurt.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt. Well, thank you, Stephen. Thank you for coming.
Always fun. Al, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.